What's up, guys? Scotty here with the Will Ball for Soup, bringing you not a podcast. This is more of an interview, but I really don't have any background footage for it. But Vince and I, we're telling everything. Most of you know Vince from his work with Let's Talk Paintball, but Vince also ended up taking a job with the NXL. Now, in that job, that's where Vince encountered the stress, and he went from a mainstay, a public figure in paintball, to basically nuking everything. So this guy kind of has been MIA for a long time, and me personally, I wanted to know what happened. Now, most people point the finger at iconic Quinn, and Quinn has planted stories with both of us. Like way back, he told me he designed the Dragon Force. Hey, that gun's out now. I was right, motherfucker. But we're gonna get right into this video, but we'll find out that this was not caused by Quinn. This is caused by something completely different.
You know, one of the things you said in the intro of Let's Talk Paintball, formerly, Let's Talk Paintball does not exist. It is all gone. I hit the nuclear button. There's not a single image, graphic, nothing. It is all gone. We're doing this interview on an iPhone because I've literally got rid of all of my equipment. It is all gone. So, so that's kind of how, can I swear on this?
Yeah, I'm also very low tech. I'm holding my $130 Android phone up to my quadcast mic. So that's how we're doing the audio for this one. It's a little ghetto, but we were making it through.
I was so pissed off at the paintball world, and I from a very visceral standpoint, hated paintball. I got rid of everything, and I never was at a point where my bills and livelihood was reliant on paintball. It was all like extra fun money for me. But I got close enough to the point where I really had to second guess a lot of things in my life, and which we can kind of dive into all of that. But I have a nice corporate job and have a lot of responsibility that is actually less stressful than dealing with some of the bullshit inside and behind the curtain of paintball media.
And that's why this interview is so important. We're going to go behind that curtain. We're going to speak some truths. It's going to get really, really spicy. So a good place to start, did you quit or were you fired?
So I quit. So I was never fired. So any like misconstruement or any stories behind that, I quit. But I tried to, so I'll kind of give you like the rundown, make it quick. So when I came back and started Let's Talk Paintball again, right? So I left and then came back again. Life was in a much more stable place. I had gotten, a job that was paying really good money, and I kind of, went through all of that. And I originally wanted to come back to Let's Talk Paintball because I actually had the time to do it. And I missed the community, right? I missed a lot of the friends that I had made and that kind of stuff. But obviously, as you know, you got to take care of real world stuff. So when I came back, I just was like, I'm going to do Let's Talk Paintball. I'm not going to do any, kind of like crazy, behind the scenes stuff as far as like with the NXL. I'm just going to do me. Well, then I got an offer to kind of go back and do some of the commentating stuff for the Premier Field. And I was like, yeah, I love that. That was cool. I'll do some of that. Here's like some stipulations that have to kind of be followed because I don't want to follow that set of rules that I was under before. So here's kind of like what I want to do. Here's my set of rules. And they were cool with it. So I was going to Let's Talk Paintball, and I was going to dabble a little bit of the Premier Field because I had gotten DMs upon DMs upon DMs from semi-pro players, from viewers, from WNXL players that the new commentators were absolutely trash. The whole webcast was hard to watch. They had no idea what they were talking about. And I did like hours of research on these teams and people to give the viewers a good show. And that just wasn't happening, right? So I was then approached 3 weeks before World Cup. I got a phone call from the executives over at the NXL that said, hey, we know you have a marketing background. Would you come in to help? We had some stuff go down. Matt Ingles is no longer with us.
We're going to get into that. Like, I definitely want to know what really happened to Matt. I think he's a good dude. I think he was good at what he did. And his exit was a little surprising, and there's not a lot of context for it. So if you know that, let us know what happened to Matt.
Yeah, so first I want to say Matt is a great person. I don't think necessarily Matt did anything wrong. I think Matt was using his relationships inside paintball, and Matt has a family to take care of. And I'll tell you right now, the NXL media job does not pay the big bucks when you're the sole provider for your family and you have, kids and stuff. So I was told by the powers that be that Matt got caught with his hands in the cookie jar a little bit. So when you're a platinum or gold or silver sponsor, you get access to certain media from the NXL. And if you aren't paying to be a sponsor, you don't get access to those photos. So what I was told, and I was not able to confirm this, I just was told by the powers.
Got that big allegedly here.
Yeah, allegedly, he was caught he was paying photographers with the NXL's money, his photographers, and then he was then giving some of those photos to Todd Martinez from Weapons, and Weapons was not a sponsor. So essentially how the NXL viewed it was, we're paying for these photographers for our platinum sponsors and everybody to get these images and help out, and you're giving it for free for kickbacks from your buddies because Weapons makes like all the Maple Leaf Chiefs jerseys, and Matt did some work with them on the side, like he helped with Weapons social media. So as soon as that was found out, it was like they ixnayed him immediately for that. When I came into the NXL side of things, it was like I started to get access to all the back end stuff. The NXL account had been banned from Facebook at one point in time from copyright strikes because whenever they would record the prize, like the podium, whenever they would record that, well, the dumbass DJ in the background's playing songs that they don't have the rights to use that music.
So that's a breaking story. I've never heard that.
Yeah, copyright strike.
NXL got a copyright strike on Facebook for using licensed music. Dog, that's so easy. Go into the rights-free library on YouTube and select some generic bullshit. It's not that tough to avoid that. But what I do want to say is that I don't like mixing business and professionalism with paintball because it always gets fucked up. Like somewhere down the line, somebody's going to either stab you in the back, you're not going to get paid, you're going to do work that just doesn't get fucking paid. So it's not like it's a hobby. You have to consider it as a hobby for your own sanity. And that's kind of where I'm at in my career with this thing. If you want to call it a career, it's not a career. But get back to it.
So
Vince.
here's where a lot of things started to shift for me. So I after I went through their Facebook and their Instagram and I'm trying to monetize stuff and I'm getting all that fixed, the back end guy, that's what I do, right? I started to obviously get in and there was all this like ridiculous pushback because no one really knew what happened to Matt. So they just knew that Matt was gone and all of a sudden here's my face and I'm public enemy number one. So from the jump, I had so many photographers and media people that just jumped my shit immediately. Like there was no winning. Like there was no way they wanted me to succeed. They wanted me to go down in a burning fire, just a wreckage, so that way they could all point and go, oh yeah, Matt was the man, Matt was the man. No one else can do it besides Matt. And again, this is not a hate on Matt. I've watched Matt literally work himself with an hour of sleep to get all the NXL stuff done and all the relationships he had and everything he did. The dude was a wizard. So I'm not trying to say anything about Matt. What I'm trying to say is that when you have a cult following like that, like the next person's fucking doomed. So I always say in manufacturing, I never want to be the plant manager after a good plant manager leaves because that guy's going to get fired. I want to be the guy after that. And that's where Alex Sorensen comes in, who's the current guy running it, which I got a fucking bone to pick with him. So we go through I go in the back end, get all that figured out. We're doing a bunch of stuff. It's chaos, by the way. There's no organization whatsoever at an office level, support staff level. It's all chaos. And so we're figuring out graphics. We're doing all this stuff. We're getting to the event. I'm coordinating their creative team doesn't exist. So it's me and like some intern that they pay for like 17 cents a day. that like we're coming up with all the creative stuff and trying to get everything posted, and I'm at 1 a.m. doing revisions of all this stuff. And I still work a full-time job. I still have 4 kids. Like I still am happily married. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. And so I get all that, do all that. We get that figured out. We go to Cup, and I had hired JMac and No Souls, 2 photographers, because I was a fan of JMac for a long time, and the guy over at No Souls was a good like up and comer, and I kind of changed how they did media a little bit. It was no more of this. I literally had photographers like DM me and go, "Hey, I'll be there on Wednesday to get my pass," and I'm like, "Fuck you! You're not getting a pass. You were a douche to me every turn, and now all of a sudden you just expect it because that's what Matt used to do. Fuck you." So there were dudes legitimately hostile with me at World Cup because they had been on the pro field for 4 or 5 years, and I made their asses go shoot divisional. I'm like, "You're not getting a pro pass. Sorry about you." Like, I'm the fucking gatekeeper now. So what made sense? What did I do? I gave pro passes to guys like Matt the Gym Rat, one of the guys who, 40 Media, his partner there, they do a bunch of their stuff with. I give pro passes to those guys. Why? Because Matt the Gym Rat is arguably the biggest influencer we have in football right now. So why not get that guy in the pro pass? Why not get that guy on the pro field? Because the one opportunity I give him, he's going to come back and do a collab with the NXL, and that's going to reach millions. Like, it just made more business sense to do that shit instead of having like these old fucking like old regime guys like all pissed off. Like, yeah, good job. You get 4 fucking views on your photo and you get 2 likes. Awesome. Well, Matt Gym Rat just got 700,000 views of one fucking post. Like, so I had a bunch of that shit go on behind the scenes.
Hey, do you know anything about why Matt got snubbed at the summit? Is there anything weird going on between Matt and the NXL, or are they good?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. So I know last year they probably weren't good, but you mean like Matt the Gym Rat? I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about Matt Ingles. No, I was going to say, well, Matt Ingles, real quick. I don't know how the relationship is. I know that this year, from what I've seen, it looks like Matt Ingles is helping a little bit, or at least has like a better relationship. Matt the Gym Rat, I don't know what. I love Matt Davies. We went out to dinner with him and his team when we were at Cup. Like, he's a great dude. He's one of the best people I've ever met in my life. A very wholesome guy. I know he's like a brand sponsor for JT now. I don't know what that looks like. My guess is that, like, obviously his time is valuable, so he wants paid to do any sort of like collaborations with the NXL. And they don't want to do that because they have a shoestring budget. Like, their budget is, it would be crazy. If you've seen their books,
no, I have not.
I'm saying, if you were to see their books, they're not making money hand over fist. It is a shoestring budget. And so my guess is that, there's some compensation there that they probably don't have the finances for. And Kevin, their finance guy, is awesome. That guy is a wizard. He works magic to get this stuff to happen. And so, yeah, so I don't know what the deal is with Matt the Gym Rat. I don't know. But as you know, there's a controversy here. It's all like buddy, right? I don't even know. I didn't watch the Summit Awards, so I have no idea who won. But my guess is it's like either like PTG, which is nothing against them, but like
he just wasn't even nominated. That's what caught me off guard. Like, he should at least be in that conversation, right? I don't care who wins, but he should at least have gotten that nod. So I'm like, is everything okay? I don't know.
You know what's crazy? I think the year prior, the same exact thing happened. He didn't get the nod either. Like, which was crazy. But so anyway, sorry, I'll try to wrap this up a little bit. So I get through Cup. I make like 2 spelling errors. I put TOW, T-O-W, instead of 2 on one of the posts, and it gets lit up, right, everyone? So I try to take it on the chin and try to be fun with it. So there was a lot of stuff that I was wanting to change media-wise because the NXL brought in a consultant that worked with the NFL and the MLB, the NBA. This consultant guy, I hosted him. I walked him around, multi-millionaire. And I'm going through analytics with him, and we're doing all that. And really, that was the catalyst. That World Cup 2023 was the catalyst to everything we're seeing today. In the fact of like how things are changing. If you notice, they have like the media team has the aprons on, or like the little smock vest things, right? Those are there on purpose because they were buying media shirts from Weapons. So spending a lot of money buying these media shirts. So now they got away from that. They no longer do the media shirts. They do the overvest now. They all have a specific, these are people who are pro. These are people who are sponsored. Like there's certain media people that can only be on the field if like Infamous is playing, and that's Infamous's camera guy, right? They wanted to limit the amount of people that were on the field. And out of all that, I want to say that hands down, 2023 World Cup, we probably put out some of the best photography and best graphics of that one than I've seen in at least recent history. And yes, that is a fucking direct shot at people who've done it before. So again, there was a lot of stuff, and then so after everything goes good, Alex Sorensen comes into the picture because they had separated NXL media and Major League Paintball media. So Alex comes in, big Fraggle Rock looking, guy, good, real happy-go-lucky, joyful guy. He comes in and, everything seems to be good. We're going to, talk about what work we're going to do next year. And I was still the interim. Like I hadn't made a decision whether I was going to make this full-time or not, because the money I was making in the real world was crazy compared to what, I was making $2,500 an event at paintball. So doing this, and it was like fun money. I literally came home and gave it to my wife so she could, because she was like putting up with all the kids and shit while I was like traveling to Florida and all these places, right? So so everything's good there. We have the relationship, everything's fine. Like, and that's kind of like the speed version of it. We got a ton of likes. I mean, Matt the Gym Rat, because he's my friend, was doing collabs with us. Verbal was doing collabs. Rye Guy was doing collabs. I mean, we had everybody doing collabs with us, sharing content. I mean, it was great. I set up probably the best media tent ever. I bought pizza for everybody. We had waters for everybody. Like every media person came in there. We had Starlink internet set up. I mean, it was Gucci. Well, in the meantime of this all happening, there's a fucking full revolt happening against me on the paintball media. There's a big, on Facebook, there's a big media group chat. And it's like, it's hundreds of people, photographers and like videographers and everybody involved. And there's a full-scale revolt happening because Tom had come out and come to me and said, hey, if you want next year, 2024, if you want to be on the pro field, you need to share content. And it's going to be copyright. Like we're trying to Major League Paintball logo as like as a, just like the NFL logo, they're trying to move in that direction, which is the right direction, right? So nothing bad against Tom. My time with Tom was always phenomenal. He was always super nice. I never had a single issue with Tom. I know that may not be the case for a lot of people, but I want to make that clear, and I've always made that clear. Tom was always a great human to me. So, but he's running a business. So based on the business executives they brought in to be consultants, they were like, hey, no more doing this stuff. You need to start treating this thing as a brand, like NFL, like baseball, so on and so forth. You can't just let people get pictures of your logo and they're not paying or giving some kind of compensation. So they wanted to really limit the number of people on the pro field for 2024. And they wanted to focus on videography more than kind of the photography side of it. Well, that pissed a bunch of people off. And again, guess who gets to be the face of all this? Me. So they start making memes about me. They start going after me and like saying personal shit about me. Like it just got a little too much to the point where I was like, I was stressing about how I'm going to pay my bills if I go towards paintball and do this free agent, marketing deal. My wife just had a miscarriage when all this was going down.
I'm sorry,
also.
Dude. That's rough.
Yeah, and so that was like a bunch of private shit going on. So we're dealing with all this. How are we going to pay our bills? How am I going to support my family? My wife and I just lost a child. Like, all this shit, and I just keep getting all this fucking hate. I mean, it was like, guys like Enrique and Verbal and 40 and Matt and Rye Guy, like they were all super chill, very supportive. I'm having phone calls with some of these guys daily trying to figure out what the best possible thing to do for the media side of the NXL would be. Kind of one big family, happy-go-lucky. And on the other side, I had some of these fucking guys just absolutely flaming me. And John Dresser made it right, But at one point in time, during World Cup, John Dresser absolutely fucking shit on me in this media chat actively while World Cup is going on.
And are you able to read the
everyone's
chat like
jumped
when
on
he
the
was shitting on you?
bandwagon. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, so I was like, John, why didn't you come to me directly about this? This is something that the league wants to do. I'm just the mouthpiece for it. But he ended up making it right. Him and I had a good talk about it. He actually gave me a free Flex 8, any color, any style I wanted. He put it together and gave it to me as kind of like a peace offering. And then I misspelled a word on a post, and then the Masons guy, whatever the fuck his name is, so he started coming after me too. You're not professional. You're not this. You're not that. And I was like, dude, I'm about to fucking block you and pull your goddamn sponsorships off of all of our fucking logos, like everything. I can do that shit, you know.
You can't let it get to you though, Vince.
It got to a point where I was like, okay, there's no way that I can make this work with the money that they're going to give me. And it wasn't a bad sum of money. I mean, they offered me for almost $50,000 a year to do it. So, and I just was like, there's no way. That's half of my income. Like, I can't do that. So anyway, the long and short of it is I just said, hey, I don't think I can financially make it work. And now, granted, this is in January. Like, this is early January. I made this decision. And I talked to Kevin. I talked to Tom about it, kind of let him know where I was at and what was going on. And some of it was, I got cold feet because I was like, I can't afford to make this big jump. You know, unfortunately, I don't have that, like, same mentality that Shella had, and Shella's killing it and doing really good right now. You know, paintball nerds, Isaac, he's doing good right now. Like, there's a bunch of people.
But are they really making money, dude? Is Zai really making money from those little clips? Is Shelda really selling 1,000 copies of that fucking book? It's like, dude, maybe you could survive, but you're not going to thrive with that paintball income.
Yeah, it's not a ton. I mean, it really is like love of the game kind of stuff. And if it was 10 years earlier, I would have made the jump no problem, but I just couldn't do it. So here's the fucked up part, and here's what really kind of spurred me to, like, kind of get involved a little bit after I heard this. So Alex Sorensen, going back to him, he was a good dude. I never had any problems with him. We share ideas back and forth. He was definitely he's like a D6 player. He was definitely more on, like, the creative camera side of things. And I was like the analytics, so I thought this was going to be like a great team type shit, right? So I tell Kevin and Tom, hey, I'm going to bow out, but I think there's a guy that would be really good for it. The Alex Sorensen guy, he could probably afford it. His wife is like a collegiate coach. She's the breadwinner. So he has the time to do this. He could probably focus more energy on it. So great. It looks like everything goes good. They get the transition done. I'm fucking over it. I say my piece because I was just sick of the media, like the backstabbing and all this shit going on, all the things being said about me personally and privately. I was like, fuck this shit. I don't have time for this. I make too much money, I guess, to have time for this is where I was at. So I bow out of it. And just very hateful, right? I was just very pissed. I was just very kind of hateful because I feel like I'm letting this dream go. And did I overreach a little bit? And, like, I was trying to help the media people, and they kind of fucking turned on me a little bit. It wasn't even the new generation. It was all these old generation fucks, you know, the only reason their work was trash, and the only reason they were on the pro field was because they knew Matt. So, and Matt's such a nice guy that he kind of let the fuckery go for, like, a long time. And the funny thing is too, real quick, so this is how much of a, like, people person I am, where people want to help me and, like, with shit. Matt Edens, if you don't know him, he's a great guy. He plays for D3 KC Sports Complex. He's got a background in audio and visual, whatnot. Jeremy Doan, who is now a pro player for Aftermath.
And he's a weapons designer too, yeah?
Weapons designer. He was Matt Ingles' old, like, graphics guy. He was the one posting all the graphics or making all the graphics that he would post. He has a very different personality. If you don't know him, you think he's being a prick. But if you get to know him, you realize that's just kind of his person. He's like that with everybody. So there was this weird relationship that he was like, I don't know if I'm staying on with the NXL. I don't know if like I'm done because Matt's done. And then also he was a semi-pro player, so he went and played World Cup. So there were like gaps in time where we didn't have anybody doing graphics that I was able to grab Matt Edens and I was like, hey dude, I'll get you in the pro pits so you can watch pro matches from the pits if you come help me with these graphics. And boom, he stepped in there, like had like a 5-minute download with Jeremy, and then he started doing it. So it's like I can pull on all these levers to get these things to help. The Starlink we were using was Eddie Painters from 187 crew.
Shout out
Off his
187.
RV.
What an ag team.
So we were using his, Starlink, just making shit happen, right? So anyway, I bow out. Sorensen takes over. We start to get into the season. I'm like, okay, they're carrying over a bunch of stuff I used to do. The countdowns and different stuff. Cool, that stayed. That's awesome. And then the headshots they did look like absolute fucking trash. If you look at ATPA, the old headshots are fucking terrible because no one wanted to help. This year's headshots looked much better because Major League Paintball took that over, and now they own Ghost Sports owns that side of it now, so they do all the shit. But I was so mad at the world. And I'm a conservative. I'm a God-fearing man.
Vince for America. Shout out Vince for America.
Yeah, so I'm a Christian man. I'm happily married to a beautiful woman for 10 years. We now have 5 children. I just had my wife, and I just had our 5th child 3 weeks ago. And I just didn't like the way the directions were going. So I was like, you know what? I was like, fuck this. I'm going to prove to everybody that I like talking. I like making points. I'm a fairly intelligent individual. Not all the time, but, and I turned Let's Talk Paintball into Vince for America. And it was strictly my fucking hatred for everything that was happening. Paintball, the world, all this woke bullshit, like all this stuff. I had a buddy of mine who lost a job for cracking a joke, who lost his fucking livelihood, been in a job 25 years, lost it because he cracked a fucking joke that someone didn't like, and they went and told HR. Something he was a blue collar guy, been making those jokes for 20 years. Some new kid comes in, he cracks a joke, the new kid runs to HR, this dude loses his fucking job. So I was just like at a point, and I work in manufacturing, I'm a blue collar worker, so like I was just losing my mind with how everything was starting to go. And I was like, yeah, fuck this. I'm gonna speak my truth, speak my mind. I'm done being the nice paintball guy. I'm done being everybody's friend. I'm done saying the nice things about whatever. Like, I'm done with that shit. Here's the reality. Here's how I really feel. Here's kind of who I am outside of this nice guy paintball persona. But it was all based in, like, I was just a hateful fucking person.
It's good that you can see that now, because that content was pretty far out there, man. Like, I'm pretty hard right too, but that was like further right than I am.
Dude, I went off the fucking deep end. I was making fun of everybody and everything. I kind of went off the deep end on that. But it was all based in just, I was so mad at the world because I'd spent 20 years in paintball. I arguably revolutionized how we do like media style reporting for breaking moves and all that kind of stuff in 2 years. I spent less than 2 years and revolutionized literally how they do it. No one ever had it. I still get DMs to this day. I mean, even from you, like, hey, miss your content, whatever. But so I left paintball completely. Didn't pay attention, didn't nothing. And one of the things that sucks about that is I had said at the World Cup 2023, I said PB Fit will win an event at some point in time in the next 12 to 18 months. They will win a pro event. And
huge
that
prediction.
was one of the last videos.
You nailed it.
Yeah, that was one of the last videos that I shot. And I said, I look forward to PB Fit winning an event. They're not the same AC Diesel D3 team. Like this team's going to win. So I deleted Vince for America, got rid of that. But I was kind of like the damage had already been done a little bit. Like I went so far off the ledge that like Kyle Spica messaged me and was like, I didn't realize you were this much of a hateful fucking idiot, and like just shit on me like in a DM, right? Kyle Spica's like, you're a fucking terrible person, and then he unfollowed me, so I thought that was funny. But then I had another pro player message me, was like, fuck yeah, brother. No one's saying this kind of stuff. It needs to be said.
I'm kind of in
And
between the both of them. Like, I won't get too deep into it because I do have a corporate job, but you can't be putting like extreme political views out on the internet because there's somebody from work who's going to see it. There's somebody who's going to snitch you out. So, like, rolling that stuff in. But here's what most of the people who contacted me about this interview, they want to know about what's going on between you and Iconic. And how I'm going to get into that is I'm going to say where I'm at with Iconic right now. So I don't know if this has ever been said before. This is an interesting one. My first interaction with Iconic was when he was on his personal account on my IG page saying bullshit about the stories that I'm putting out. He's like, yo, you're wrong. This is completely not happening. And I'm going to go into a specific example with the Dragon Force, right? So I had one of my friends on Dynasty spy a like 3D printed body of this gun in the Field 1 office. I'm like, for sure he's seen it. So I put the story out, hey, this gun is in development. And then Quinn is on his personal account in the comments saying, you're making this shit up. You're doing all this for clout. So he's shit talking me on his personal account. And I'm like, all right, like you shouldn't be here. Like, leave me the fuck alone. So I've blocked him. And then I see him saying, this creator has so many headwinds against him. I'm like, fuck this shit. I fucking don't care about this guy. I don't want to see him or deal with him. So he's been blocked for like 3 or 4 years on my end. But a lot of people who are fans of you, they know things were weird between you and Quinn. And they want to know, like, hey, did he play a role in your exit? How are things now? Has anything gotten resolved?
Matty Marshall actually played like the intermediary. And Matty was like, listen, you and him need to talk. How do we get this figured out? So he did an interview on the Spick and Span show where he had said some shit about me, and I did a reaction video to it. And that was kind of like the culmination of everything, where Matt Marshall called Quinn and said, you guys need to talk or I'm pretty much fucking done with both of you. So me and Quinn talked, had a really good hour-long conversation about stuff, kind of squashed things, came eye to eye, understood. He apologized for some stuff. I apologized for some stuff. And we actually were good, which is the funniest thing because my whole time in paintball, him and I were adversarial. And then, him and I get good. And then I fucking leave paintball. He had nothing to do with me leaving. It was more the old, like, photography camera guys that were like the media mob that essentially caused me to leave because, dude, I'm not kidding you. I think there was a point in time where via Facebook comments and messages, my phone didn't stop going off for like an hour of like just hateful shit they would say about me.
Dude, you just gotta rise above it, man. It's not like they're people in your life. If somebody important criticizes me, like if somebody really important, like say Matty Marshall comes at me and says I fucked something up, then I will take some time and reflect and be sad. But if it's just some random shitter, I don't care, dude. You're not on my level. Like,
yeah. And the problem is with that mentality, when you're the nice paintball guy, like when you're the professional media guy for the NXL, you can't really do that because you have to try to you have to play the political game, right? You work in a corporate office, corporate environment, you got to play the politics. And I made this might sound some kind of like, cocky, but I made too much money to be like, I don't have fucking time for this. So that's really what it came down to. If I made $30,000, $40,000 a year, I could be like, all right, like whatever, it is what it is. Like I got friends that know me, blah, blah, blah. I could have probably done that. But it came down to a point where it's like, I'm too fucking rich to worry about this shit. Like I don't have a fucking, I make 6 figures a year. Like I have kids that I'm trying to take to school and like pay for shit. And like I have a wife to pay for and a house. And like, I don't have fucking time to be dealing with these fucking Muppets.
Yeah, I make twice as much money now as I did running a paintball field. My salary is doubled. So it's like, there's some unsettled business regarding my termination. There really is. And I super want to go into it. But it's like, my life is better now. Do I really want to settle this account? Like, do I really want to go at these fuckers? I kind of do. I kind of do. But I don't know, man. Like, it's all a game. And I'm not going to let the opinions of people who don't matter bring me down. Like I blocked so many people in the fucking UK. Like when I had the Eclipse buyout story, I got hate mail from the UK nonstop. I'm like, block, fuck you. So I don't care, dude. Like I'm living.
Here's the shit that I miss. Here was the pinnacle of Let's Talk Paintball. When the Iron Man, like dismemberment happened where they essentially were just like rebuilding Iron Man and getting rid of everybody. I love Nick Slowiak to death. I would rob a bank for that guy. If he called me right now, I would do anything for him. Well, I was talking to Nick, and I was like, "Dang, that's crazy." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, I just got a text message that so and so is getting released from the Iron Man." And he's like, "No, they're not." And I was like, "Yeah, they are." And he's like, "Dude, I'm on the Iron Man. I would know if they were getting released." And then the next text message I got was Nick Slowiak is being released. They're going to let him know in 30 minutes. And I was talking to him on the phone.
That's a wild one, man.
I was like, "Nick, what is your actual job?" And he's like, "Well, I work for Dye as like the Iron Man liaison, social media person, whatever." I was like, "You might want to get your resume ready, dog." So I started to kind of like it again, and I started watching again. So I actually bought Go Sports again. I was watching World Cup. Well, Shella, who was a great guy, he made a video with Alex Sorensen talking about like the responsibilities of Major League Paintball, blah blah blah, right? And the fucking comment he made, he's like, "Yeah, Matt's the GOAT. Vince couldn't handle it." And I was like, first of all, I have more responsibility in the first 10 minutes of my day than that fucking dude has all year long running the paintball shit. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you manage like 5 accounts. But it's not like you're managing the NFL here, right? You get 10 comments a day, you get 4 emails, right? You gotta do some fucking graphic stuff. You gotta coordinate maybe some things with Camille on the back end. Like that's it. Like this is like it's not this like terribly crazy job where it was so hard. It was hard for me because I was doing 50 other things. Like this dude's wife is the breadwinner. So it's well, yeah, you can sit at home and fucking, like do this all day long in bed and not like give a shit about much. Like that's cool. I didn't have that luxury. So, and Matt, people don't realize about Matt. Matt wasn't actually going to events towards the end. Because after Matt had his kid, he kind of started to take a step back and like Chicago in 2022, he wasn't at that event. Like he stayed at home and we coordinated everything, and he had his like little minions coordinating all the media stuff. So when you have a family and responsibilities and all this different stuff, like yeah, it's a little more difficult than like having your fucking bills paid for you. That'd be like my wife if we didn't have any kids telling me like, "Hey babe, I want to start doing social media." Okay, fine, I don't care.
So who's based and who's fake based?
Marcelo Morgat for sure is the most based. Like that dude is a stud, very original. Sees both sides, but definitely has some of that American blood in him.
See, I didn't know that until you brought it up. I didn't know Marcelo was kind of like a right wing thinker. Maybe that's why we've been kind of getting a little bit closer. But that's really cool to know. Do you have
I'll tell you, when I started my Vince for America stuff, he reached out in support, but he also was like, "I don't agree with all your political views, but I do support some of the things you're saying." So he was just awesome. Marcelo is just an awesome guy all around.
Really good at paintball for a really long time too. Like first ballot Hall of Famer. So who's the lefty? Who's like the goofball left wing paintball player? Who's fake based?
I don't know. I'm gonna say Kyle Spica just because he shit on me like in DMs, like called me a piece of shit pretty much. So
man, yeah,
he's a great paintball player, and like I love his Tigerware brand with him and Alex, but like yeah, I just did not see that coming. He's like, "Your politics are trash," and blah blah. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Spica is washed. He hasn't been good since he was on Dynasty, and I don't think he treats me very fairly on his show. So yeah, fucking fake based Spica. Let's move on to a different one. So if you were to go into your journey of creating paintball content, being a paintball influencer, being up in the booth, would you do anything differently, or would you all do it your way?
I would have stuck to commentating. I would have never got into the media side of like, dealing with photographers, and I would have kept stealing as many photos as I could and editing them so they couldn't copyright strike me, and make my own posts without trying to ask if I could use them because they're all pricks and want money.
Great answer. All right, one more because we are closing in on an hour. So what about biological men playing in the WNXL? should we do something about that, or is it just so few of them where we're going to be persecuting them? So I know like we want to have a big tent, but is there room for biological men or trans women to be playing in the women's league?
Here's the reality, right? And they say the marker's the ultimate equalizer, right? Doesn't care. Well, and that's fine, but the Olympics have two different gender competitions for a reason, right? I think the woke shit was just what was popular at the time. And obviously, I have my own beliefs on this, but no, I think women should play in the WNXL. I think men should play in the divisions that aren't the WNXL. It's my own personal beliefs.
Yeah, it's a tough question because there's not a lot of them. But I don't think trans people should be persecuted. That's not what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I think women should play women's sports. If you were born a woman, you should be playing women's sports. If you're born a man, you should be playing men's sports. But what I do want to see, like, I want to see a woman get into the pro division and play against the men on a men's pro team. I want to see that. Who's going to be the first one?
Yeah, Jen Falk would probably be the first one. She is a savage. But no, I think my reality of this is like I don't mind if there's transgender in the WXL. What I mind is how hard they push it. That's what I always had an issue with. Love who you want to love, be who you want to be. That's fine. So I don't have any problem with trans people. I have a problem with how hard it's pushed. Like, look at this, look at this. It's like, no, I don't want to.